Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we're going to talk about the blueprint to fixing this defense. All right, so we're going to take a look at the Cowboys lineup here, the roster, if you will, and a couple of comments here from Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett. This is serious. We're talking about fixing the defense, so we're in cap mode time. All right, now the narrative of fixing the defense. All right, let's get to this first. Does the defense need to be fixed? All right. So for me, I wouldn't say it has to be fixed, but it does need to be upgraded in certain areas, in particular the pass rush. Okay. All right. If you look at the defense as a whole, we had a really good stout run defense. All right. Run defense. We had a good run defense. But as you know, in this league, you got to get to the quarterback and you got to take away the time for him to be able to analyze and dissect the secondary. We don't have a pass rusher right now. We don't have the pass rush, right? We've had mid-level rankings here in pass defense. Sacks have been really low. They've just been gone ever since we let Ware go, and the transition to the 4-3 has been ongoing. They've been throwing bodies at it, mid-level guys, mid-round guys, and it hasn't worked. Okay, so let's take a look at a possible blueprint to getting this defense as a whole back on track to a caliber playoff defense. All right, so first let's take a look at here something that Jerry Jones had to say. Okay, check this out.
That we've got in our defensive front is numbers, and actual numbers on the field. It's called a rotation. It's called give these guys 2 or 3 that played well last year, played at a level that if you'd cut their plays in half, they would play, we felt, at even a higher level. And so we think as we approach the season with these kinds of numbers, we've got guys in here that certainly were geared toward the 3 technique or nose guard, or certainly right in, rush in to go with what we've got. So the bottom line is this: we will, given our expectation, have several of these guys that are in the defensive line. We've got a couple of free agents that we're looking at real good. We expect them to contribute to a rotation. That was the strategy going in. We didn't think that we could solve this problem in our defensive line by the drafting of one pass rusher, that we needed to have enough numbers. That goes.
Okay, so this video here was taken in the post 2014 draft. Sounds eerily current. This sounds like something that he would say right now, and you have to ask yourself, is this the right strategy? This is 2014. We made it to the playoffs, got knocked out by the Packers, couldn't get to a limpy Aaron Rodgers with the supposed rotation. It didn't get it done. All right. 2015, we had the disastrous year with Romo being out, and everybody just, we know what happened there. Okay. 2016, 13-3, all cylinders running on offense. Run defense was good. But again, we get to the playoffs and the pass rush was not there. And again, it was Aaron Rodgers slicing and dicing the secondary because he had time. All right, he had time. So the first question is this philosophy the right one for the Cowboys? Because it seems like this is the same thing they're doing. They're throwing bodies at this defensive line and using this rotation. Obviously, the rotation is a good idea, and you get more out of your guys. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I think a lot of people in the league are doing this now. However, for the Cowboys, the quality of guys there is not good. Okay, you have bodies, but you gotta have the quality in those bodies, right? You can't just have numbers. I mean, you can throw numbers at this all day, but if you don't have quality guys, it's not gonna make a difference. That's where the Cowboys need to get better, and that's where they need to get better here in the draft, in my opinion. All right, so let's take a look here at something that Garrett has to say. Check this out.
Make sure we address that. You've heard me say a lot, games are won up front. We feel really good about the development of our offensive line, and today I felt like we made some strides in developing our defensive line, and hopefully we've improved there and can play better really throughout our whole defense.
All right, so there it is, clear as day. Garrett, and the philosophy of the Cowboys is the game is won in the lines and the trenches. And this is also taken from the post-2014 draft. That's Garrett talking about that. They have done a very good job fixing the offensive line. Further proof of that 2014 draft, we drafted Zach Martin. As you know, the Cowboys just picked up his 5th-year option. That's what they got to do here on the defense now. They gotta get guys here. They gotta fix the defensive line. Okay. I know there's been a lot of conversation as, you know, fixing the secondary and this and that, but I think if the Cowboys want to get this thing going, it's got to start with the lines, and that's what Garrett is saying here. You know, he didn't say that these are won in the receiving game, and this isn't won in the secondary. What he's saying is correct. This is starts and ends on the lines. You pay these guys big money to do one thing, block the quarterback. Jerry Jones said that drafting Zach Martin gives you an extra second of protection. And it's true. I mean, having Zach Martin gives you that extra protection, but the same goes with defense. If you get a headhunter, a predator, he takes away a second, okay? You get a guy who's harassing Eli Manning or Aaron Rodgers, our nemesis, you take away that second, that play doesn't happen at the end of the game, and we move on to the next round, okay? So you got to get these guys on the defensive line to take away the second, okay? And that's what they got to do. So let's take a look here at, let's just have a discussion here and take a look at the roster and the lineup right now. So take a look at the slide. Looking at this is the base defense, okay? So you have your D lineman, Demontre Moore, he's going to play the right end. Of course, you have Malik Collins, David Irving, who they like at defensive tackle, and Crawford there at left end. Base defense. Who could you upgrade out of this position? You can upgrade Crawford, obviously, even if you move him in. Irving is better than Crawford, so left end is a need here. They're going to have to upgrade one of these positions here, possibly two. That's why I still do think that the Cowboys take more than one defensive lineman, whether it is a defensive end, right end, or left end. But in addition, I could see them adding a defensive tackle. Okay, so the other thing to keep in mind here with the defensive line, Demontre Moore, he's on a 2-year deal. Let's see if he can keep it clean and stay away from the off-field issues. Otherwise, he could be in trouble and we may not have him. Irving, he's on his last year of his deal. He'll be a free agent next year. So they're going to have to see if they're going to rework his deal, re-sign him to a long-term, or is he going to be one of these guys that the Cowboys let walk? Same thing for DeMarcus Lawrence. He's in a contract year. Even if he has a good year, I'm not so sure that they're going to pick him back up and keep him as a Cowboy. So the point is, the Cowboys, they need that kind of player that they have been doing on the offensive line. They got to have the guy who they do want to pick up that 5th-year option. All right, so I'm not so sure about trading out of the first round if we're going to draft a defensive lineman. But you never know. But I still think it's got to be defense. I mean, if you look at this slide again, you know, we have the guys here in the secondary. We have Carroll, Brown, Byron Jones there at safety, Heath. Obviously, Heath could be upgraded, and you know, we could upgrade Skandrick in the slot. Okay, so let's take a look at the roster now. Take a look at this. All right, so let's start with the secondary first. You know, we have the starters here: Skandrick, Brown, Carroll, and then we have depth there: McFadden, Seamster, McKinnon. Okay, and then safeties: Byron Jones, and right now Jeff Heath is slotted as the starter. So basically, you know, the Cowboys, realistically, they do need to add another cornerback here. They need to upgrade a cornerback here, and most likely it's got to be either somebody on the outside, and then maybe they put Brown back at the slot, or they get a slot guy and they put him in there. And so then you have to ask yourself this question: Do you use a first round pick on a nickel corner? Okay, you have to ask that question. Okay, the nickel corners really shouldn't demand that kind of money. A 5th-year option. The nickel corners, are not the premier guys. All right, so those guys can be had in later rounds. So if the Cowboys are going to draft a corner, it's got to be somebody that's going to play on the outside. Okay, it's got to be somebody like a Kevin King, somebody like that. Okay, we'll take a look at the prospects we brought in here and go over that again. And for the safeties, obviously they can improve there. I think they will pick up somebody here. Xavier Woods is a guy I like, but obviously there's other safeties here that they're going to look at. All right, so that's the secondary. All right, so let's take a look at the defensive line now. Okay, so this is the defensive line. Okay, we got Irvin, Pea, Thornton, Collins, Crawford, Lawrence, Mayoa. I mean, you look at these guys here. I mean, these are rotational guys. Every single one of them. Millie Collins looks like he could be a guy there that'll be picking up more snaps there. But a lot of these guys are on short-term deals. Stephen Pea, he's on a short-term deal. Cedric Thornton, they're not getting the bang up for their money there. So that guy could be a surprise roster cut at the end of the day. At the end of training camp and preseason, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, Tyron Crawford, we all know the story here. The money doesn't match the performance. You start adding other guys in here. Where does he stay? Where do you put him at? Okay, I've referred to him as the Danny Noonan of the team. I still think that, especially if they draft a defensive tackle in here, this guy's not going to have a home, and you have to really wonder where his future is with the team. Lawrence, contract year, like we said. Mayoa came on here, but it took a little kicking of the butt to get him going. Montre Moore, he could do something here, but he's on a 2-year deal. Randy Gregory, I don't even count him. Tapper, we're talking the back issue. Nurse surgery was done to correct the back issue, so he's one tweak away. Okay, I mean, we're being brutally honest about these guys. Okay, you could tweak that back, and then what? He's gonna be on IR again. So we're right back at it. Okay, so the Cowboys, to me, I think defensive line has to be where we go, and we're not talking about forcing a pick because there are going to be guys there. Okay, so let's take a look at the prospects. Let's take a look at this slide. Okay, let's take a look at this here. All right, so this is our list of everybody the Cowboys have met with. So as far as allocating the Cowboys draft resources this year, we got to get defensive line. All right, and they've met a lot of guys here, defensive end guys, a lot of corners, a couple guys who can play safety. Milan Fonwu, Marcus Williams, all up and down the draft, all throughout the draft. All right, so my question for you guys is this. All right, if the Cowboys need to double dip at a position, what position would you like it to be, and where in the draft do you think they would need to do a double dip? All right, so if we're talking cornerback with the first pick, are you going to turn around in the second round and get your defensive lineman? Or do you go D-line in the first round, cornerback the second, safety in the third? All right. Or do you do defensive line, cornerback, safety? Or do you do defensive line, cornerback, defensive line? Where do you see the Cowboys allocating their draft resources? All right. Who do you guys think they're going to get? Do you need to double dip at defensive end more than you do at cornerback? Or do you want to spread it out? All right. Do you want to just get a guy, a really good quality guy at a position group, like a good quality defensive end, go to the next round, get the best cornerback, and then the next round get the best safety, and then the next round get the best linebacker? What do you think the strategy should be? And should there be double dipping? All right. Let me know what you guys think. All right. All right, guys. So if you had to guess on the first 3 rounds of this draft, how do you think it'll go? Do you think it'll go defensive end, corner, safety? Or do you think it'll be cornerback, defensive end, safety? Or do you think it'll be safety, cornerback, defensive end? Or do you think there could be a wild card offensive player somewhere in those first 3 rounds? Let me know what you guys think, and let me know, like I said, what do you guys think about double dipping? What position would you prefer it at, and why? Okay, so let me know in the comments what you guys think, and we'll see you here for the next video. Thanks, guys.